Guru Nation, welcome back to another episode. This is a special episode. You guys are asking questions. This particular person was on Instagram, says, "Hey Dan, I gotta know more about Creo, which is clinicalresearch.io, but Creo is the brand name. On Monday, today's Wednesday, on Monday, I was in Marjorie Guzman's clubhouse from Topaz Clinical Research, keeping it real in research on Mondays under the Guru Nation brand. Thank you so much, Marjorie. I just jumped in there randomly, Ray, and I started hearing people talk about Creo. And then they asked me my thoughts. I'm like, yeah, actually, no, the founder, I've been using it for some time off and on. So then I was like, okay, a lot of people, a lot of chatter. Today, the guy sent me a message on Instagram. So, who better to reach out to than the founder and CEO? Are you CEO?
I am, yes.
Okay, founder and CEO Raymond Nomizu, who we've had on the show a few times in the past, but it was years ago. I think Creo's matured. I've matured. I've moved to a desert now. So, Raymond, welcome back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. Thank you so much, Dan. Thanks for the introduction.
So for those who don't know who you are, and they're too lazy to go watch the older video because there's a lot of clicking, and the algorithms maybe are not smart to show it underneath, can you give us a quick summary of who you are in particular, and then we'll get into why you founded Creo?
Yeah, so I used to run a clinical research site, and I pretty much did everything from being a coordinator. You have to, if you're a site director, you have to be able to jump in and be the coordinator and do all the finance and all the business development. And I found it really hard to run a research site with Excel and paper. So that was really the genesis of Creo. So we launched in 2016. That was the year that we launched our electronic source module. And since then, we've built out a full end-to-end platform for research sites. So it's a one-stop shop. You can do your recruiting, your financial management, your e-regulatory, eSource, and calendaring. And it's all integrated. All the pieces talk to each other. So sites are able to get tremendous efficiencies out of it. And we've grown now. We have well over 700 research sites. We're around the world. We have some very large site networks that are signing up for our system, and I think we're probably in the thousands in terms of investigators.
And you were early in this. You were mentioning that you were running a site on your own. I'm about to start doing that myself. So I'll be vlogging about it every day, so you guys can follow me. Okay, but you must have seen, because you were early on this.
We
Nobody
were.
was talking about eSource back then. People are barely talking about it now. So what was it actually? Were you looking for opportunity, or was it such a bad pain point that you were thinking there's just got to be a better way?
It really was the latter. It was such a pain point dealing with all the queries that I was seeing in the EDC, all the sloppy mistakes, all the sticky notes. And then after seeing, how the rest of the world worked, I said, well, why can't we do the same thing in research? So
When was
uh,
this? 20 what?
2015 is when we launched the company, and 2016 is when we coded it and released it. My site was the first site in the country to use it, so we launched it in September, October of 2016. But you're right, we were very early. It was a novel concept, and the first couple of years we had to spend a lot of time educating sites and talking to sites and saying, look, it is 100% regulatorily allowed. 100% the sponsors will,
Are you a futurist, or because did you get the idea from ePro, like e-patient reported outcomes, or how did this all
Yeah,
come together?
one time I went to a screening and they took my blood pressure and they entered it on a tablet. And I said, why? I mean, that's essentially what I was doing. So it was myself and my co-founder was the software guy. And I brought him the paper charts, said, how hard is it to make electronic? He said, no, it's easy. It's not hard to do. So
Wow.
the hard part was not actually coding it. The hard part was educating the market and developing the right product that would work for this very specific use case. Right? It's a very specialized industry.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you, if you're not from research industry, the concept that you're using paper charts to collect data is just foreign. Like people don't. get that. It's only in research when if you're steeped in research, you grow up in it, then you think it's normal because it's normalized. But it's really it's not normal. All the other industries have gone to electronic.
Right, everything's gone electronic. Okay, I understand more now. So basically, you get the pain points as a site owner. You got the idea. You used it for your own site first. How quickly did you bring on your next site, and how difficult was it to convince them? I can't imagine in 2016 because 2021 it's still difficult to convince sites, right? So how
We,
did you
yeah,
do it back
we
then?
we actually were able to sign up clients relatively quickly at a major trade show. I mean, Site Solution Summit, October of 2016. That was our sort of official coming out party. That's when we launched it. We had a lot of interest from people. And there was a small segment of users, of owners who said, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I was actually thinking about this idea. So they signed up pretty quickly. So we
Wow.
got a little burst of activity, and that got our investors very confident. They re-upped their funding round, and then we had a
So
fairly
you
long
raised
slog.
you raised money. This is like a
Oh, absolutely.
like a like a
Yeah.
Silicon Valley style startup. You raised money, you did all
From
that
day
Series
one,
A.
we were fortunate to raise money even before we coded. We were lucky. We raised money, and we had a couple of venture capitalists backing us.
No
So
kidding.
we
Okay.
have gone through what is called the Series A round now, which is a pretty big milestone, and maybe doing another round soon.
Congrats. Wow. Yeah,
Thanks.
I think the market share is like in 2016, and I know when we signed up with one of my other clinics in 2019, I think it was 2019, people were still having questions. Okay, well, how is this like? What does the FDA think about this? And you guys had a lot of literature, and you guys basically helped sites write the SOPs. 2021, because of COVID, I don't think you're getting that question as much anymore.
Now, I think it's changed. I think eSource is now a product, and I think people are aware of it. A lot of people have know they're going to go eSource. It's more a question of timing than anything else. So, starting in 2020, we really saw an uptick, and we really don't have to do a lot of outbound marketing. I mean, we get 80% of our business in 2021 is word of mouth, sites that are
Wow.
happy telling their peers. Because such a small industry. So if we get
Yeah.
happy clients, I mean, but client satisfaction is number one for us. We know we get happy clients. We don't have to spend money on sales and marketing because the leads will come to us.
And how did now it's the because of the opportunity, the landscape's gotten a little more competitive.
Yes.
I haven't been following too much, but I know like there's a big, really big company that's entering this space or
Sure.
already is on regulatory.
Yeah.
Um, how do you compete? Like, how? I'm sure you think about this all the time.
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, there's a huge number of companies that are raising obscene amounts of money from Silicon Valley that are entering, and all of them have similar ideas to what we're doing. But I think a few things. We have an enormous head start. We have an enormous installed base. We are signing up some of the largest site networks in the world. Are clients of ours now. We're becoming clients, and I definitely think site consolidation or a trend to site network is a long-term trend here to stay. So we saw that back in 2018. I wrote a piece on site network consolidation and
I
predicted
need to
that.
read that. I need to read that piece because that's
Uh,
like a separate
There's a
podcast
whole
right
booklet.
there.
I interviewed a bunch of experts, put it together, and it talked about valuations and what sort of the drivers and dynamics of it. And so we built our product squarely to meet the needs of people running sites at multiple locations. So we timed that well. In terms of how we're going to stay competitive, I truly think it's innovation, and I think it's in our vision. We are continuing to add more products. E-consent is in the works. I might as well just tell you up front, we are planning on an EDC launch. We're also planning to integrate. In fact, we have already started integration with a couple of EDC vendors on a few live trials. Um,
Wow.
we have a very ambitious roadmap ahead of us that involves building new modules or integrating with other services. And I think the key to all of this will be a connected ecosystem because everyone's got a cool piece of technology. But the way to win this is to create that end-to-end workflow at the investigator site level, because that's the piece that people don't really understand. Because if you get the sites to collect data efficiently and accurately, right, all that benefit accrues to the sponsor. all of it.
Mhm, mhm.
And you can only drive so much efficiency by buying one-off piece of software and giving it to the sites, right? You really need a platform for the research sites. If you have that platform, you design it well, workflow-wise, and then you plug into all the other pieces through APIs and ecosystem, you can have a really powerful platform. There's a lot of efficiencies that can be unlocked. So I think we've already started unlocking the efficiencies, but I think we're in the fourth inning.
Fourth inning. So two things from that. The Great Converge, what I don't know if I made this up. The Great Convergence is is coming. That's what I mean. Where source data is passively entered into EDC. I just call it that. I don't know if it's like somebody else called it that too. That's what I've been calling it. And then the site networks. So sites consolidating, just like the CROs are consolidating. You think this is just the beginning of site consolidation?
I think that a lot of small sites will thrive and flourish because if you're a strong PI with a good track record in patient population, you don't need to be part of a network to survive, right? I
Yeah.
mean, but I think we will not have the collapse of the SMO model like we did in the 90s. I think things have changed. And I think a big part of that is technology because now with our technology, if I'm running a same study at 12 locations using Creo, I can create one source template, one budget, push it to the 12 sites and do all my reporting and do all my remote monitoring. I can centralize all my EDC entry. I can move a lot of activities that exist at 12 locations and put it into one. So I think technology now enables site, I should say, network consolidation. But there'll
Yeah.
always be a role for strong PIs at the independent level.
Yeah, I agree. I think DSCS, we were founded 2013, around the time, a little before Creo, and we've grown a lot. Like we've added a whole bunch of clients year over year. A lot of them are actually happy Creo clients now too. One of the this and this is why I think I'm gonna like it also. We have a lot of CRAs who start sites. Okay, but they can't leave their jobs yet, but they're about to. Many have already because the sites have been successful. They tell me this is amazing because I know what my staff is doing. Back in the day with SMO, if you tried to do this back in the day, you have to go physically go to the site to make sure things are, doing as you expect. Now you just log in on your phone and you can see, hey, why hasn't this visit happened or why hasn't this assessment been done? You can see it instantly. That's got to be a huge value add for entrepreneurs, site directors.
Oh, absolutely, huge. I mean that I keep stressing that. I mean you've got to decouple the source from the location, right? I mean, you've got to be able to work remotely now, and have immediate oversight and quick access to your data. I just don't see how you can really run a site without that.
Right. Um, I want to ask one more macro overview question before we maybe get into a little bit of the details of Creo system. Uh, Macro overview in regards to sites promoting themselves. Sites, it's all about data, I think, in the next decade, right? As everything gets digitized, that's going to be the commodity. Right now it's the actual site. Soon it's going to be the data. How will Creo empower sites? Like will the sites own their own data? I know there's a lot of vendors that do free versions. That makes me think Facebook is free. They own your data. Is this a similar analogy here, or am I way off on this?
We're a paid service, so sites absolutely 100% own their own data. We have no rights to the data. The only rights that we have, and frankly, some sites will strike this from the contract, and we're fine with that, is a right to do aggregate data for analysis. But that would really be a service that we provide the site. So we don't yet have it, but at some point we'll offer benchmarking services to the sites. But it'll
So
be
you will offer
anonymized,
that.
right?
Okay.
But actual site performances and the patient data is 100% owned by the site. So we put that paramount front and center to our research site. So there's a few ways that we help the sites. One is we have a new custom reporting analytics tool that we've incorporated. It's not ours; it's actually a tool owned by Google, and it plugs into our database, and it's got incredibly powerful analytics. So you can slice and dice your data any number of ways. Two, we actually have an integration with Devana, which is all about maintaining your site feasibility metrics for business development purposes. And we didn't want to be in the BD business; it's just we have too much on our plate. So we integrated with them. That's an example of plugging into the broader ecosystem. We're also working on an API that will allow people with patient leads to send it into research sites. So what's happening right now is, and I think it's a long-term trend too, is in addition to the sites bringing their own patients to the table, there's going to be an opportunity now to recruit outside of the site, either through EMR data mining or through digital marketing, right? Because everything's going digital. So there's a whole bunch of vendors that have patient leads, but they're not the ones who actually screen the patients or do the eligibility, right? The sites do. So we're going to have an ecosystem where vendors can send leads into the sites. Sites can then use our recruiting platform to qualify the patients, and
Wow.
potentially send feedback about the performance of those patients back to the lead vendors. So if you
Hmm.
think about pay for performance, right?
Yeah.
Imagine a scenario where the vendor says, "Okay, I'm going to send you 100 leads. Pay me something for each randomization." We can enable that model. But again, think about the primacy. The site owns that data. It's a site's database. The site could have 10 different vendors sending in leads all into your recruiting platform.
I see. And that one of our clients, maybe talk a little bit about this. One of our clients, and this is a service. I don't know if it's an add-on service. I've never used it for Creo. They use the texting. I think you have like some kind of platform to text. Do you still have that?
Yes, we do. We have a built-in text service, so you can text clients. You can automate the text reminders, and you can also do text blasts as well. We also have one-click calling, so if you just want to click a phone button, it actually dials it.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, no wonder the client was like really happy with that particular. This was a high enrolling site in Phoenix. I think you might know who they are. Uh, okay, so can we get? I know it's going to be tough to share screens right now, but and maybe we'll do that another time, like a full one. Can you go? I guess talk about some of the features. I had a question today from that person on Instagram, and they were asking basically like, how does Creo work? I think that's way too broad of a question, but let's make it practical. Let's just be me, okay? I'm gonna get a new study probably in the next 2 weeks. They want to activate me like in a week. They're gonna activate me fast, so I'm gonna have my official site selection visit in 2 weeks, and then within a week of that, they want me to have my SIV. So it's like way shorter timelines than
Yeah,
most studies. Um, I want to use Creo.
yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah. So it's very flexible. First thing you can do is you can create a study. You don't have to populate all the information. You can sort of populate as you go. So you create the study shell. When you get the protocol, the EDC guides, etc., you switch to building the templates out. So you create your visit schedule. Then you go to our global library of 90 or so templates, and you just add them. Right? You can add your own to your own library. But if you want to use our physical, use it. If you want to use our conmeds, use the conmeds, use AE. So you find the form from our library, you just go click, 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 you add it, you check it off which visits, just like a schedule of events. Then you go and you open it up and you customize it for that study. So typically the AE logs probably need to be customized, the eligibility. There's a bunch of that, as you know, and that's you build that out, and using the library approach, it should be as fast, if not faster, than on paper,
Hmm.
and your templates are ready to go, and you can start enrolling on day one.
You
So
think
you
I can
can,
get that done in a week, like realistically?
yeah, you can
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah,
Especially if I have someone helping me create the actual sort, like paper source, and then I just kind of put it in there myself.
yeah. And so the real beauty is if the person that's designing it is making use of edit checks and branching logic, then the person collecting the data has an astronomically easier job, right? Because that person just has to follow the instructions. I click no, I don't have to answer this question, right?
Right.
On paper, that's very hard to follow that logic. You actually have to read the bold, italics, fill this in, follow that. It's like the difference between filling in a form on the web versus filling it on a piece of paper. You fill it on a piece of paper,
Right.
you will miss things, right? On the
Right.
web, it won't. It just guides you through it. So it's like that. So you're creating a virtually error-proof process for data collection, right? Which means cleaner data, right? fewer queries, fewer monitoring issues. And then in today's era, the monitor says, okay, I want to see your source. You are not scanning it and emailing it. You're
Right.
just typing in the monitor's email, and that monitor has a special role. It's called the external user role, limited to the site, to the study. They don't get to edit. They can only leave comments or queries. And they don't see the PHI associated with the data, just the study data.
And here's the part I like, because I did use this feature. They don't see the internal comments between me and my team members, right? Like, hey, did you do this? Did you do
Right.
that? You don't want nosy monitor seeing
No,
like
you
what
don't.
you're talking about.
That is the key, because when I was at site, we would leave sticky notes to each other
Right.
data, right? And you hope and you pray that your coordinator was astute enough to remove them before the monitor comes,
And
right?
some get stuck and the monitor's like, what is this? What do you mean you don't do this? Let me see your SOPs.
Right, you're doing laundry. Those queries are completely not visible to the monitor. That's one of the best features. So a lot of people don't really understand this, but the data that the sites collect and expose to the monitor is just one piece of the puzzle, right? First, you have to add the subject, then you have to schedule the appointment. With our calendar, it'll tell you what days are in window. So when you look at the calendar for the month of April, it'll color code the days that are out of window. If you schedule out of window, we'll let you go ahead and do that, but we're going to create a queue, and you can go there and say, oh, I can see what visits are out of window. And you can do things like save a progress note and make it draft so the monitor doesn't see it. So imagine you're a coordinator and you're in a visit and the patient says something, you're going to write a few keywords, but you're not going to spend all this time writing detailed note. You want to go back to your desk and finish it up. Save it as a draft.
So back to my practical example, this study, Ray, everything you said is nice, but like I need to start in a week. So regulatory is easy to do.
We've got the regulatory binder as well on eReg binder. And so one of the features we have is something called common folders. So you're going to upload the CVs, the IATAs, the GCP certificates, all in a set of common folders. Every user at your site will have his or her own folder for all of that information. If you add the user to the study, we copy their credentials over automatically for you. All the site credentials are automatically. So a lot of that common stuff is automatically done for you.
I see.
And then from there, you can just upload your individual files and route them to signature. We also have an electronic delegation log. We were the first company to have a truly digital DoA log.
I see. So the DoA log, okay, that's actually good. So with the DoA log, the investigators can e-sign this.
Yes.
Okay, so I can send it to my NP who's maybe 20 minutes away from the site, not able to come in. See, people don't know. Back in the day, you had to have your sub-Is come in, sometimes just to sign like a delegation log and then go back. Like a lot of wasted time.
Yeah. You don't have to play round robin with the DoA log. You just add your duties, you hit send, and boom, everybody gets something in their email, and they just e-sign it. So,
what about the other reg docs, like financial disclosure forms? Can they e-sign those? 1572.
Yeah, they can e-sign any document you want. The one limitation I think all the eReg software vendors have is that the signature right now is outside of the paper. So a lot of sponsors want the 1572 to be on that line on the piece of paper, like sort of DocuSign style. So we don't support that. I don't know if any of the other eReg vendors support that. That's the one thing that may have to be done outside of our system.
The 1572.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cause
but FTF is fine.
I don't remember if that has the line. If that one may be also done outside. If there's a line in there particular about the signature being on the line itself, as opposed to outside, like then that would be done outside of our system.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure some sponsors would still accept it, but you're not guaranteed to have it accepted 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. What else am I missing from a regulatory? I guess delegation log is pretty important. Protocol training log. Can you e-sign this?
You can e-sign anything you want. So you can create a memo and just circulate it like you would any paper. So sites can get that in there. The one other thing, we don't have a signature process for the CRA. So like a monitoring visit log. If you're capturing that, that's probably just best done on paper.
Okay. That's good to know. I guess the next video we'll do like a maybe screen share. I know Chris and I have done this, or maybe it was Monica and I. We've gone through our Creo. I think Monica did the regulatory from one of your competitors. But we can do like something like that just to give
Yeah.
people, because they're asking these questions, so it wouldn't hurt. Even if they're not using Creo, let's say they go on and use someone else, they're all basically going to have like similar functionality at the
Yeah.
end of the day. So I think it'll be informative for all the sites out there.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Let's do that.
Okay, I think that's good, Ray. I think you helped answer a lot of questions. We'll do another video sometime soon, and I do want to do, like, when you have time, let's read that white paper and let me read it, and then let's do an interview if you want on that,
Yeah. I'll send it over to you.
because I'm interested in that kind of stuff. Like, a lot. This stuff's cool. I look at this more of a tool. Like, I have to use it to do my job. But that I really love talking about, because that's like business. That's the future of how you grow and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So, okay, Ray, we'll do that. Thank you, guys. Anybody wants to connect with Ray, his LinkedIn profile is underneath the video or in the show notes. And by the way, guys, I should have done this at the beginning. This is why I don't have more subscribers. Only 28% of you watching right now are subscribed. This is a travesty. We need 100, or close to 100. So please like, subscribe, comment, share, and then go follow Ray on LinkedIn. And thank you very much, Ray. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.